Hey guys, I'm back. I have good internet today, so I'm just going to try to get a lot done right now. I'm back with Finding Home, and I'm on chapter 12. It is spoken by Ashley and is the Cartwheel Queen. I hope you guys are doing well before I start reading. I hope you're reading on your own, and I hope you're liking this book. Butterflies tumble around in Ashley's stomach. She was in the car with Mom, headed to her very first gymnastics lesson, and all her confidence about this sport was gone. Ashley pressed her hand against her tummy and turned to her mother. I don't feel good. This leotard is cutting off my strangulation. Every time she twisted to the right and left, back and front, the pink material wouldn't smooth out. What had she been thinking? Gymnastics was Marcia's sport, not hers. Ashley closed her eyes. Mother, please go back. Turn around. Mom glanced at her. Your leotard is not cutting off your circulation. It's a little large, if anything. She looked straight ahead. You haven't even tried gymnastics, Ashley, she smiled. You'll probably love it. Probably not. Circulation is a big deal, Ashley blinked her eyes open and tugged at the fabric around her shoulders. Strangulation felt more like it, and now they were almost there. Plus, Marcia started gymnastics when she was 3 years old. It's too late for me. She paused. Don't make me do it. Ash, honey. Mom kept her eyes on the road. You'll be fine. I won't. Ashley crossed her arms hard. Mom didn't understand. I can't compete with Marcia and her friends. Not in a million years. I could never be them. Mom's voice stayed calm and patient. Remember last year when you tried to be like Brooke? She paused. You stopped soccer and tried to study harder to be like her? Yes. Ashley shrank back to her seat. It wasn't my best moment. Right. Mom stopped at the red light and took a deep breath. So be yourself. Gymnastics is fun, and everyone has to start somewhere. The butterflies stopped rumbling. True. Ashley hadn't thought about it that way. This could just be a starting place. Exactly. You might turn out to be a cartwheel queen. Mom patted Ashley's hand. She pulled up in front of the gym. I'll be back early so I can watch you. Mom had to pick up Brooke from middle school. Brooke was playing violin this year in the school orchestra, and Carrie was at the rec center swimming. Ashley felt her confidence coming alive again. Sounds good. Then after we can go to the house and hear how everyone's activities went. Home, you mean? Mom gave her a half smile and waited. Ashley stared out the window at the gymnasium. It's not home. Her words were quiet, because she didn't want Mom to think she was being rude. Carrie told me you were thinking about running away, taking the train, or asking Marcia's mom to drive you. She looked straight at Ashley. Well, Ashley swallowed hard. Carrie wasn't supposed to say anything, but at least she cared. Maybe those were the wrong words. She folded her arms and looked out the window again. But I am planning on returning home one day, as soon as I can. Mom sighed. I wish you wouldn't. We would all miss you a whole lot if you left us. You can always come visit. Ashley turned back to her mom and smiled. Oh, Ashley. Mom ran her fingers through Ashley's hair. Please. Stop fighting against our move. Pay attention to what's happening around you. Bloomington is amazing. Ashley slumped in her seat. I don't think so. She felt the sting of tears in her eyes. Mom didn't have to sit next to Natalie in class. She didn't have a drafty old place for a bedroom. Well, let's just wait and see. Mom's voice was even kinder than before. Have fun, Ashley. This is day 1. Remember that. Okay. Ashley climbed out and waved to her mom. Her mom meant well. Plus, she always had the best advice at times like this. As Ashley walked toward the gym, she clenched her fist and closed her eyes. You can do this, Ashley Baxter. You can do this. She exhaled and walked through the front door. Marcia ran up and led her to a group of girls. They had pink leotards just like Ashley. Confidence flooded over her. The leotard felt better now. Not so much strangulation. Marcia introduced her to the girls, and then Coach Beth sat them down. I've been in gymnastics most of my life, the coach said. She was old, maybe in college. We'll go over simple moves today, since some of you are new. Ashley looked at the other girls. These were her new teammates. This was her team. And just like that, she could feel herself choosing joy because it was a decision. That was the lesson last week at Sunday school. Choose joy. We could use that lesson now, couldn't we? In this whole midst of being stuck at home and trying to get through this whole time, we could choose joy. That'd be a good thing to do. Every day, choose joy. A giant padded mat stretched across the gym floor. The coach directed each girl to find a spot. Give yourself room, she smiled. Falling is normal at first. Remember that, Ashley told herself. Falling is normal. First, they raised their arms high, and next, they touched their toes. They leaned one way and then the other. Coach Beth called it stretching. Now we will do a bear walk. The coach bent at her waist and balanced on her hands and feet. She walked around that way. Then she stood and pointed to them. Your turn. Ashley bent in half and put her hands flat on the floor. Then she walked around in circles and lines back and forth. Look at that. Happiness came over her. She was very good at bear walking. Who knew? So good that she kept walking like a bear even after Coach Beth changed activities. Ashley? The coach was looking at her. From her upside-down position, Ashley peered through her legs. She stayed on all fours, frozen. Yes, ma'am? The coach's eyes got wide. We are doing somersaults now. Somersaults, Ashley stood. Yes, ma'am. Ashley looked at Marcia. Her friend was doing very perfect little rolls across the mat. Didn't look too hard. Ashley scrunched up in a ball and tucked her head underneath. First time she did it, her legs flew out and crashed on the padded floor. Ashley lay there for a short moment, but she ordered the butterflies in her stomach to stay still. It's your first time, Ashley, she whispered to herself. Try it again. 4 more attempts, and finally Ashley got it. Tuck, push forward, roll, then land on your feet. She stood and put her hands straight up, because that's what gymnasts do. Marcia had taught her that. Very good, girls. Coach Beth smiled at Ashley. I think you're getting it. Yes, Ashley did an invisible clap for herself, because her mother always said humility was part of sports. But she really was getting it. Her coordination was growing. Next came the balance beam. The coach showed them how the beam lay low along a pit of foam rubber pieces. If you fall, it won't hurt. The pit is for soft landings. Ashley stared at the pit. They should have one of these for 5th grade, she thought. That's where she really needed a soft landing. The beam is my favorite. Marcia took Ashley by the hand, and they got in line behind 4 other girls. I always feel like a graceful hummingbird, barely touching the beam. That sounded wonderful. Ashley could hardly wait. It was Marcia's turn, and sure enough, Ashley's friend practically floated against the beam to the other side of the pit. So far, not one gymnast had fallen. Ashley was next. She held her breath as she stepped onto the beam. It was much skinnier than it looked from the back of the line. You can do this, she whispered, just like Adventure Day. 1 step at a time, stay away from the green lava. But her feet didn't feel like light on the beam. They felt heavy, like elephant feet. Crash, crash. Every step shook the beam. She was 5 steps out over the pit when she began to wobble. Before she could catch herself, the wobble got worse. Help! She screamed the word just as her whole body fell into the foam pit. Very quick, she sat up and looked around. All the girls and Coach Beth were watching. I'm okay, she waved them off. I'm fine. Ashley bounced a little. She was better than fine. The foam pit was wonderful, way more fun than the beam. She rolled onto her back and then onto her front and bounced some more. This was nothing like the green lava back at our house. Coach Beth walked closer. Ashley, she smiled, but it didn't reach her voice. We don't play in the pit. Please make your way back to the mat. Can I try again? Ashley hurried out of the foam rubber. Please? Coach hesitated. Sure, 1 more time. Ashley still had elephant feet as she moved onto the beam, but this time she didn't care. And halfway across, when she started to wobble, she did a little burst with her feet and flew into the air before her whole body fell against the foam pieces. This was like being on a trampoline, only way better. She quickly sat up and looked at the coach. Sorry, she couldn't admit that falling was better than walking on the beam. Apparently, I'm not very good at this activity. I see that. Coach Beth directed Ashley out of the pit. Then she patted Ashley's shoulder. You'll get better. Finally, it was time for cartwheels. Ashley felt the stomach butterflies tumbling around again. If If only she could remember how it felt when she did it on the lake. Luke had told her later that her form had been perfect that time. The girls found their spots on the mat. Marcia gave her a thumbs up. You got this. Ashley nodded. She watched Coach Beth demonstrate a perfect cartwheel, almost like she was a cartwheel machine. Okay, Ashley told herself. She put her arms straight up. Here I go. She hurled her body to the ground, but this time was even worse than on the grass of the lake. Her arms crumpled and she fell straight down. Her face broke her fall. Ugh! She sat up and squinted a few times. Once more, she looked at Coach Beth. I'm okay. Again, really. The other girls didn't seem to notice, which was the best news. Ashley raised her hands high again. She would get it right. She really would. A few running steps, and then she threw herself to the mat. This time she landed hard on her side. Thwop. Her breathing wasn't quite normal for a little bit. Let me show you. Coach Beth walked up and helped Ashley to her feet. She put her hands firm around Ashley's arms. Lock your elbows, pretend your arms are pieces of wood, then really push yourself over. Pieces of wood? Yes, that would be better. Until now, her arms had behaved more like pieces of spaghetti. Ashley stood and lifted her arms over her head, stiff and straight. Before going, Coach Beth checked Ashley's elbows. Perfect, just like that. Ashley took some more steps, and this time, when she threw herself down, her strong arms caught her, like they were actually pieces of wood. And before she knew it, her body followed all the way around. She had done it, a professional cartwheel on the mat. See? Coach Beth clapped and gave Ashley a high five. Then she moved on to help another girl. Ashley stood tall and raised both hands again. She had done it, and now she could picture herself getting a medal, being the best cartwheeler in the universe. She tried it again and again, and each time her move felt better, more graceful, like a hummingbird. Ashley loved this. Gymnastics was her new most favorite sport, especially cartwheels. Marcia ran over and hugged her. You did it. I knew you could. Her breathing was fast because of so many cartwheels in a row, so Ashley put her hands on her knees and rested. She smiled up at Marcia. I prayed all week that I could do a cartwheel today. Marcia smiled. Well, I guess it worked. Yeah, Ashley had her breath back. She stood a little taller. Marcia zipped her hoodie and pointed to the lobby. Both their moms were watching and waiting. Let's cartwheel our way to the door. After 3 cartwheels, Ashley stood and ran to her mom. I did it! I can see that. Mom kissed the top of her head. I've been watching. On their way out, Coach Beth called to Ashley. You're going to be a very good gymnast, Ashley. She waved at her. See you next week. Thanks. Ashley grinned at her coach and then her mom. She picked up her bag and skipped out the door. When she and her mom got back to the house, Ashley rushed to the table, pulled out her sketchbook, and started to draw. Her hand flew across the page, and she giggled as she drew. She blew off the eraser shavings and surveyed her work. There, just like she pictured, herself in her pink leotard, on a podium with a medal. Then she remembered one last touch, a crown, because she really was a cartwheel queen after all. Here's her drawing. And that is the end of chapter 12.